said, remember this moment in the back of my mind. The time we stood with our shaking hands, the crowds in stands went wild. We were the kings and the queens, and they read off our names. The night you danced like you knew our lives would never be the same. You held your head like a hero on a history book page. It was the end of a decade, but the start of an age.
Hi. So recently I have had a bit of an itch. Doctors couldn't figure it out. They tried all the creams, all the ointments, all that. Ointment is a really weird word. They couldn't figure it out because it was an itch to make YouTube videos. So I ended up making this list of video ideas, and I really only expected there to be like 2 or 3 in there, and no, turns out there was 40 something. So today I'm going to show you a tour of my apartment, the stuff I like, the stuff I want to change. I'm going to vlog a little bit, make some pancakes, and all of that in no particular order because, spoiler alert, although this is the start of the video, it actually was filmed much later because footage was lost, mistakes were made. There are no promises of continuity in this thing. So without further ado, let's start the tour. So the first room I want to show you is the living room. The living room is where people live. It's not a great name. The living room's the first thing you see when you walk in my apartment, but I'm not super crazy about all of it. The thing I love the most about the living room is how it looks in the evening. I ended up wiring these accent lights in the bookcase, and that was a whole thing, like to hide the wires, to make it so that Capitaine doesn't chew on them.
Like a damn sociopath!
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So this area is somewhat of a love-hate relationship for me. It's in a specific corner of the apartment where you can see quite literally everything. I know that in Feng Shui that's called the command position, and usually it's supposed to be a good thing, but this takes it to the next level. Like, this takes it to the extreme. This is just too commanding. When you sit in it, you just feel like everybody's watching you, even if you're alone in the apartment. It's very unsettling. There's more things about this space that I want to change than I want to keep. So to start off, I'd like to put a rug in the middle just to kind of tie the different pieces together. The other thing I want to change is this couch that I'm on. Me and this baby have a lot of history. It was the first kind of major piece of furniture I ever bought. So I do have some attachment to it. The problem is that it is very red. It's very loud. I feel like it worked really well in the apartment I bought it for. I'm also a little bit over the red as a color. So I'm thinking of either getting a new sofa or getting it recovered or finding a cover to put over it. I'd also like to put the guitar and the ukulele on the wall. I think it would kind of like clear off some of the clutter that's on the floor and make the space breathe a little bit more. I'm just like turning the little thing. Cue the Song of Storms. Yes. Capitaine's just like, what the fuck are you doing? I was giving my boyfriend an update and he's asking, what's taking the most time? I think what's the most time consuming is having a vision that isn't just something happening with a camera in one still position. It's a heck of a lot easier to just have the camera in one place and do jump cuts and talk the entire time. Next on the tour we have the entrance. You might be thinking, Jonathan, why didn't we start with the entrance? Well, let's just say the entrance is so damn unremarkable that you wouldn't have even noticed it if we'd started with that. Like, I'm doing this for me, but I also don't want people to like click away immediately. As an entrance, it functions. There is a door, there is a place to hang things. You can put your shoes here, there's a closet. But it's pretty much the most boring entrance you've ever seen. There's nothing interesting about it at all right now. I wouldn't say I hate this space. I would just say that I feel indifferent about it, which is why I'm very, very excited about some of the ideas I have to make it a little bit more interesting, to spice it up. Thinking maybe a rug, a nice rug, not whatever you call what's there. Maybe some shoe storage, maybe a mirror. I'm also thinking about making a custom piece of furniture. I've never done that before. I'm very curious about all the ways I could make it work and also fuck it up. I'm excited about this one. When I first started dating my boyfriend, I bought some flowers the first time he came over. Then, as our love blossomed and the flowers wilted, something occurred to me. I can just buy more flowers. Next, welcome to the dining room, the place where we eat. I think my favorite thing about the space is the dining room table. So, well, first of all, it's huge. Second of all, you can expand it, which isn't usually something that you can do with glass tables. For things I want to change, the first thing would be these chairs. There's a lot of lines going on in here. There's a lot of lines going on in this space in general, with the bookcase, with all the legs for the tables, the desk, everything. These chairs just add tons of lines. It's just like lines, 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 like just lines everywhere. It just makes everything look a lot more visually cluttered than it has to be. The last area I want to change is the sort of bar area. My mom actually gave me this sort of kitchen island thing. I just brought it from one apartment to the next without it really being necessarily adapted to the space. I'd like to put something kind of decorative on that wall. I don't know, maybe like a smaller credenza, maybe a mirror, a plant. I'm not totally sure yet. Wow, look how blue my eyes are. And look how much the sun is in my face. This was not a good idea. What I really like about the space is all of the plants. It just feels really peaceful, and I think that's important given how much time we spend working. I like the view as well. The view was a big part about why I ended up picking this apartment, so it feels just fitting to be able to appreciate that all day. There's a couple things I'd like to improve about the space, but overall I find this one pretty good. Some of the things I change is I'd like a little bit of a bigger desk. There's some wires and like electronic stuff that could be hidden a little bit better. So this, okay, I'm getting out of this. I'm getting out of it. Basically forces you to end your workday at a time that makes sense and that's kind of good for you and your body and your well-being. So, you know, I don't see it as a downside. Capitan has this thing where he wants to be watered. He thinks he's a plant. Here you can see him coming into the bathroom, going up onto the tub, and so he goes and grabs the watering can in order to be watered. This is like my favorite thing ever. I don't have any tattoos yet, but I think that one day one of them is gonna have to be Capitan in his watering can. I kind of love this angle. Like, yes, I swear, I'm wearing pants, okay? I'm wearing pants. So this is the bathroom and not just some random room that I decided to put a toilet paper holder in. And it's one of my favorite rooms in the apartment. So some of the things I really like about it is obviously just the peaceful, calm vibes that this place has, and obviously the skylight. But those aren't things that I really have any control over. The things that I did do myself in this place was the plants. To me, plants in the shower feel very relaxing and very like spa, zen-like, and yeah, that's just the vibe I was going for. I also really love the bidet situation here. For those of you who don't know what a bidet is, Google is free. Trust me when I say it will change your life. There's not a lot that I want to change in here. I'd say the main thing is organization in some of the drawers, and maybe put some art up here, but I'm not totally sure. I kind of like how this place is just a blank canvas. I work from home, and I noticed that if I spend too much time in the same exact space, like at my desk, my focus starts to take a bit of a nosedive. So I like to vary it up a little bit. Welcome to my bedroom. So this is where the magic happens, if you know what I mean. So one of the things I like about this room is the giant mirrors on either side here. The people who used to live here didn't want to move them, and I was like, they are freaking nice. I'm keeping them. I'm also obviously a fan of the beautiful brick wall. That's kind of a thing that I've been into for a while in apartments. As for the bed, so I've had this bed for an embarrassingly long time, I think since college. It's definitely lived out its usefulness. I think I'm due for a new one. It's also a little bit small. Like, my boyfriend and Capitan are both in the bed. Like, it's just, it gets a little too tight. I also find that there's a lot of clutter in the open storage that divides the room. this is the gym, and it's one of my favorite rooms in the apartment. I don't know why, like, I had the idea that I would just like finish the bench press and not be tired after it somehow. That's not how it works. So when COVID lockdowns happened, I needed a place to just be physically fit, you know, just so I wouldn't drive myself crazy. And I decided to make a little home gym. I got really lucky. I found this hole for most of this set. It was in pretty bad shape. Like pretty much everything was rusty, everything needed to be repainted. So I decided to make it hot pink because I figured it would be funny to make something hyper masculine like heavy iron plates and turn it into something like extremely girly. Even though this is like one of my favorite rooms in the apartment and I really love it, I don't really use it that much anymore. So my plan is to turn this into a kind of art space. Oh, there's no handles on this side. I'm gay, and this is the closet. I'm actually really proud of the framing of this shot. Like, look at that, look at that. That's some Wes Anderson shit. He just jumped at me while I was like adjusting this. That was a fun shot. I have to say, that was a fun shot to make. And this is surprising. Oh no. This is surprisingly fun. So while this is technically not a room, it does account for a large amount of this apartment's storage. So I figured, hey, why not? Let's consider it in this whole tour. I'm a big fan of how big it is, how much stuff I can put in it. Other than that, it's way too cluttered. There's a whole bunch of shit I need to get rid of. There's stuff that isn't mine. There's stuff that needs to be sold. I have way too many clothes. Just all that. I'm back from the gym and Tipitan wants the obligatory cut. Well, now he doesn't. Now he's sneaking away, but he jumped on the bed earlier for his obligatory I was out of the apartment for more than 5 minutes cuddles. Oh, there we go. I don't know. So I really like to cook, and it was important for me to have a kitchen that allows me to kind of have all the space I need to just, you know, make a mess and not have to worry about it until later. I've tried to make the kitchen as functional as possible. When you know exactly where everything is, it helps you be really creative with your cooking. So I'm just gonna gloss over the top things I love about my kitchen, but you know, just know that there's more. So first off, we have the rack of pots and pans, and you'll notice that there's a lot of them. All of them have a purpose, I swear. I think it adds something aesthetic to the space, but also it's incredibly functional. I just have to like reach over, grab something, and use it, and I don't have to think about like, oh, where is it? The other piece that I definitely can't live without is this baby here. Not the dish rack, not the dish towel, the stove. So what makes this stove special is that it's induction. So what that means is that it heats up the pot, and it heats it up pretty much instantly. You kind of get the best of both worlds when it comes to electric and gas. It also saves electricity, makes your space a little bit less hot. Like, there's only benefit. The other area that I like a lot is the under cabinet lighting. It's made such a big difference, especially at night when I'm like looking for something in the kitchen. I like to keep my apartment pretty dimly lit. I like mood lighting a lot. And yes, I could turn on more lights in the kitchen, but I don't want to. They're battery operated, you just mount them underneath. Yeah, they turn on automatically when you open the doors. I'm also a really big fan of this little station here. So I watched this video by Caroline Winkler. Go check her out if you haven't seen her on YouTube before. In this one video, she had this one piece of advice that was corral your shit. And I took that to heart. I don't really have a before and after. Maybe I do, I don't know. Perhaps you'll see it in post. To me, this kind of brings it to a level that's a little bit more interesting. For the things I'm a little bit less crazy about, I would say it has to be the spice storage. I don't feel like I did a great job of that. I literally just took the boxes of spices when I moved and put them on the counter, and it hasn't really changed since, and it's been like 2 years. So I have a little surprise for y'all today, a little sneak peek, if you will, of what's to come on this channel. In the time that I started filming this video, I ended up going to IKEA, and I picked up this very cute little dish rack. This is what it looked like before. This is what it looked like after. This is what it looks like without anything in it. I think it's very cute. It doesn't draw attention to itself, especially in the evening when the room is kind of dim, and yeah, you just, it blends in completely. I love it. The Wes Andersification continues. As you can see, I have this fucking ridiculous and impractical setup where I'm gonna be filming cooking here. Let's see how long this lasts. Wow, we have batter. I really hope that that whole setup was worth it. All right, we have saved the best for last. This is my favorite part of the apartment, the terrace. In the summertime, it is amazing to eat out there. It's just really cozy and you have a view of Montreal skyline, and yeah, I am a big fan of that. I love just like going out on the terrace, eating, enjoying coffee in the morning, whatever it is. It's really a great place to lounge and chill or just like work out there. The vibe I was going for is Secret Garden Cafe, and I think I hit that pretty much on the nail, on the head. I hit the nail on the head. It was a pretty big challenge, to be honest, like putting it all together. Also, I need to clean my windows. They are evidently filthy. One of the Acapulco chairs was, I think, from Amazon, but the other, the big sofa, was actually a handmade thing by some lady in Morocco, and it was a heck of a time getting it up the stairs. It doesn't fit through my door. I had to like levy it over this like gate. The pillows are a mix of IKEA and some really custom ones made by an artist friend of mine named Stephanie. I'll link her in the description below. The antique chest was thrifted. It's a really great storage solution as well. So when it rains, I basically put all of the cushions inside of it, cover it up to protect it from the rain. The sunflowers are also a pretty big highlight of the terrace for me every year. So I just wanted something kind of like bright and cheerful, and it also kind of goes with the gold theme. So I just have these like climbing up the side of this divider between me and my neighbors. And yeah, they just bring me a lot of joy throughout the whole summer. And Capitan absolutely loves eating them. Capitan, no. I tried to get a whole bunch of flowers that I had in my mom's garden, just because it kind of reminds me of like the flowers I saw around me growing up and stuff. And finally, the hanging balls that are suspended on the top of the terrace are from the Gay Village in Montreal. It was an art installation, and when they took it down, they basically auctioned them off, and I bought a string of it.
Take a moment, promise me that
I'm Jonathan, and if you made it this far, I just want to say thanks. I'm pretty thrilled to have you along for the ride, so stretch your legs, subscribe, grab a snack, and if you enjoyed this, I think you're gonna like it here. Oh, and if you didn't, why are you still around? This video is 30 minutes long. The first pancake always turns out a little bit wonky. So whatever it is that you're creating, I hope you can take this caked up metaphor to heart and keep pouring that batter.
Tell 'em how the crowds went wild. Tell 'em how I hope they shine. Long live the walls we crashed through. I had the time of my